You know, what if I told you that some of the oldest ruins on Earth aren't just walls and temples, but are actually sophisticated celestial computers? Let's dive in, because the story that's written in these stones could change pretty much everything we thought we knew about the ancient world.
All right, our first stop is central Israel at the ancient site of Gezer. And what you're looking at here are 10 massive standing stones, megaliths, that were put up around 1600 BCE. For centuries, nobody really knew what they were for. Were they religious idols? Memorials to dead kings? It was a total mystery.
For over 3,500 years, these silent stones have been guarding a secret. The question is, are we finally ready to hear what they have to say?
You can imagine archaeologists were scratching their heads over these for a long, long time. But new research suggests they weren't placed randomly at all, not even close. They were part of an incredibly precise instrument.
Now, to crack this code, we need a special kind of toolkit. It's called cultural astronomy. It helps us see the sky the way ancient people did. And for them, it wasn't just a pretty backdrop. It was their clock, their calendar, and their map. It pretty much governed their entire lives.
So to understand these structures, we first need to get what their builders were looking for. And the first key event is the solstice. That's the point when the sun hits its highest or lowest point in the sky. It looks like it stands still for a few days, and it marks the longest and shortest days of the year, which you can imagine is absolutely vital information for any farming society. The other key event is the equinox. This happens twice a year, right in between the solstices, and it's when day and night are almost exactly the same length. So you put them together, the solstices and the equinoxes, and bam, you've divided the entire year into 4 predictable seasons. And this slide right here shows you exactly how they did it. It's so brilliant. For ancient people, the horizon was basically a giant natural calendar. The sun rises in a slightly different place every single day, moving between 2 extreme points, the summer and winter solstices. If you can just mark those 2 points, you can track the entire year.
So, with this toolkit in hand, let's head back to Gezer, because the layout of those stones, well, that's the key.
So this is the view from above. Now, it might look like a random line of stones, but the arrangement is pure genius. You see that altar with the square basin? Its position is not an accident. It's the focal point. It's like the crosshairs for a massive celestial targeting system.
And here it is. This is the aha moment. Researchers figured out that on the winter solstice, the rising sun creates a perfect line of sight from one specific stone, casting a shadow that strikes the corner of that altar basin. Then, 6 months later, on the summer solstice, the sunrise aligns with a different stone, and its shadow hits the opposite side of the basin. I mean, come on, that is not a coincidence. That is precision engineering.
So what does this all mean? The standing stones of Gezer weren't just monuments. They were a functional solar calendar, a kind of stone computer built to track the sun. But what if their knowledge went even further than that?
Okay, now let's travel to another ancient site, Megiddo, and go even further back in time. Here, a totally different artifact asks a brand new question. Were they mapping the stars too? This incredible drawing was found etched right into a paving stone at Megiddo, and it dates to around 3300 BCE. That makes it way, way older than the Gezer stones. It shows a lion standing over a fallen enemy. For a long time, people just dismissed it as a simple mythological scene.
But what if it's more? What if it's not a language of letters, but a language of stars? Is this a hunting scene, or is it a map of the heavens?
And here is the second aha moment. Researchers realized that if you map this drawing against the stars, the lion aligns perfectly with the constellation Leo. The brightest star, Regulus, marks the lion's chest, and another star, Denebola, marks its tail. The fallen man even aligns with part of the constellation Hydra. They weren't just drawing pictures, they were charting the cosmos.
This is a complete game changer. It means that 5,300 years ago, people in this region were developing their own sophisticated astronomy. This knowledge wasn't imported from the great empires of Egypt or Mesopotamia. It was homegrown, developed just by watching their own night sky.
So why did all this matter so much to them? This wasn't just some academic exercise. This celestial knowledge was the bedrock of their entire civilization.
And this wasn't some one-off observation. The lion, as a symbol for the constellation Leo, became a powerful and persistent part of their culture. We see this same motif, the lion and the man, popping up on artifacts for the next 2,000 years, from a seal found in Jericho to a votive altar from our first site, Gezer. It was a symbol they clearly understood and revered for millennia.
This celestial knowledge was intensely practical. Knowing the solstices meant knowing when the winter rains would start, signaling when it was time to plow and sow. It told them when to hold religious festivals. And it provided a framework for their myths. I mean, think of the biblical story of Joshua commanding the sun to stand still. To an ancient audience, this wasn't just a miracle. It was a leader showing ultimate power over the most important clock in their world, the solstice. By understanding the patterns of the heavens, they brought order to their world on Earth.
As the cultural astronomer Anthony Aveni puts it, the predictable events in the sky offered the ideal role model for society. The stars weren't just something to look at, they were a blueprint for building a civilization.
So the next time you look at an ancient ruin, don't just see a pile of rocks. Look up. Because the secrets of these places might not be buried in the ground beneath them, but written in the sky above. It makes you wonder, if this much knowledge is written in stone, what else have we simply forgotten how to see?